Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at my favorite anti-meta team for the Open Great League. What I also saw recently with the videos that I did, especially for the rank 1 in the world teams, there were a lot of steel types / ice types in the lead. So this is why I decided to try out my Talonflame again. Talonflame is of course a little bit worse compared to the Charizard usually, but in the current meta, where there are a lot of grass types, a lot of ice types, a lot of steel types, this Pokemon actually performs maybe even a little bit better. And this is just honestly such a cool and so underrated Pokemon right now, as you can just sweep through entire teams with this Pokemon. It's just going to do so much damage, and here we're just going to decide. Actually, we had a lot of lag as well with that kind of stuff. You see it here already. But yeah, you're just going to get a double shield advantage here, and our team in general is more of an anti-meta team, which is kind of cool. Like, the most meta Pokemon here is going to be, of course, our Superior, but the rest is kind of stuff that you don't really see too often, and really helps out with a lot of matchups. So I did 4 sets in total with this. I think I went positive in all of them, which was kind of nice, and yeah. I have to say this team was just amazing. I loved it a lot, and I just think it's a great team. So here we're going to take a look at the first battle as well. We're going to be able to just win this game with our Vigoroth, and we can move on to the second one. Moving on, again, what I said before, we're going to have so many positive leads with your, with your Talonflame basically, as you're going to encounter now the Diggersby swapping in against us, which is going to go for a Fire Punch. Here is a thing, sadly, that I should mostly consider a little bit more. Diggersby can actually flip this one if they hit another Fire Punch. So you can decide if you want to go 2 shields down, or if you want to go no shields down, but therefore get both shields from the opponent. So like, it really depends. Like, if you go 2 shields down, you're going to be able to get back switch advantage as far as I know. But if you go 0 shields here, like I did, I just get 2 shields from the opponent. So for me, 2 shields advantage is a little bit more important, especially with a Pokemon like the Talonflame, compared to having 0 shields but switch advantage. So like this, we can just go for a Brave Bird, and Talonflame is definitely going to have a great time here. We're going to have the Diggersby coming in. Yes, they can go for the charge move. Yes, I know that they're all going to be resisted, but we're debuffed, of course, against the Medicham there already. But what I can do here is I can just get an extra free fast move in. I can just go for the Flame Charge, and at this point of time, the Talonflame is just going to sweep the entire team. Destroy the Medicham, destroy the Diggersby, and in comes the Frosters, which is just going to completely melt from that Flame Charge, and we can move on to game number 3. Moving on, let's take a look what they're going to run. Again, this is not like something that's like, I don't know, like Swiftbit or just try to get out the good battles or anything like this. This is just literally what I encountered most of the time. There are so many ice types around, and there is a clear reason for this as well. Right now, there are a lot of really good ground type Pokemon. For example, the Clodsire, for example, just in general. Pokemon like Swampert, of course, like ice typing there is kind of neutral because of the water typing, but there are quite a lot of ground type Pokemon around, and you kind of want to answer them with that. Also, of course, all the flying type Pokemon, and ground and flying type, of course, with Gligas also very common. So those ice types are really, really decent in the current meta, and also fire type Pokemon are pretty bad in general, which is something that I already made a video about a month ago. Basically, back in the day, there was only one Pokemon that was in the top 100 from PvPoke, which was a fire type, which was Shadow Charizard. It's actually out of there as well right now, so there's not a single fire type Pokemon in the top 100 on PvPoke at the current time. So it's not really something people are expecting, and so a lot of people are not really prepared for it. And here we want to be able to have also again another great matchup for us in the back, which is going to be the Bastion, which I encountered really often with this team, which is great for me because I usually encountered in the back, which is really good for me because I have 2 decent answers there. And now the Superior are going to get the knockout, and we can move on to the next game. Let's take a look what we are going to encounter here. Another steel type Pokemon in the lead, and we're going to see the Clodsire swapping in. And here's something which is going to be a little bit more awkward. Clodsire is a trickier Pokemon to deal with for this team. It's still doable, and you're going to see here also how I usually play it if they swap into their Clodsire. You can go ahead, like actually you can even go ahead and go into the Superior. You still have a fairly solid matchup there. But we're going to just go ahead and go into our Vigoroth, and we can just go for one Body Slam. Go for the Body Slam first, in my opinion. Just farm up to a lot of energy and then go for the Bulldoze. Bulldoze does exactly enough damage to knock them out from this range after one Body Slam, after the Incinerates. And like this, we have the same amount of shields as the opponent. We were able to get back switch advantage. We're going to get out the opponent's Steelix here, which still has to go for a charge move. And we can realign our Pokemon, which is really what we kind of want to have here. As the opponent going to reveal that they're going to have the Azumarill on the back. Basically, game over at this point of time, as we will be able to just hardwall the opponent with the Superior. So It's literally the best kind of anti-meta team that you can have right now, because a lot of people don't expect Superior in the back. Usually it's elite Pokemon, which also would benefit your elite Pokemon because nobody expects really any kind of fire type right now. So this is literally my favorite anti-meta team at the current time. As you can see, another win, and we can move on to the next game coming up. We're going to encounter Diggersby in the lead. The entire team is actually decent against Diggersby, but you kind of have to be a little bit careful with this team. You kind of want to swap out eventually out of your Talonflame. I just gotta go for one Brave Bird, do some decent damage, and then swap out, because Talonflame is your best answer for something like a Medicham. Yes, also your Superior can deal with it, but here, for example, we're gonna get out the Frosters, which is something that I really wanted to get out because it is my only answer, really, the Talonflame for it. We're going to be able to have a decent time then later on, most likely, as the opponent makes a great play. Basically, throwing at the perfect timing here. I can still get a ton of energy though with my Talonflame, and as you're going to see here, I'm gonna use a shield, and we're gonna see now afterwards the one weakness for this team, which I don't know how you really want to fix it though, but there is a little bit of a weakness, which is against flying and water type Pokemon. This is going to be a little bit of a trickier one, as Pelipper, of course, is going to be definitely a strong Pokemon against me. I can still go for a Frenzy Plant here, depends if they go for Hurricane or not. I decided to just use a shield just to be safe. It's going to be the Weather Ball. But even though they went for the move here, I think I still have a chance here with even though they went for the bait, because they can still knock me out. But I have a ton of energy on my Talonflame, and I need just one fast move to get to my next charge move. And I thought that I was not seeing the swap here, but they actually swapped out, and so they are going to be able to win the game. If they did not swap out there, or if I didn't throw the move there, I think I would have been fine. But sadly, that didn't happen, so yeah, that's going to be a good game. Moving on, let's take a look what they're going to run next here. We're going to encounter the Talonflame against another Alolan Ninetales. Again, this is not really try to put some certain Pokemon in the lead or whatever for this video. It's literally just put random gameplay in here. So it's kind of wild to see how many ice types we actually encounter. But that's like a common theme right now. Like if you look at your battles, like I looked at my battles, that's why I kind of figured out that fire type Pokemon might be really decent in the current meta. But here we're going to be able to just go ahead and use another shield against the opponent's Clodsire. They're actually running Mega Horn this time around, but we can just go for the Body Slam. Body Slam is going to do a ton of damage, but also going to put them into range for the Bulldoze, which you're just going to have to go straight for it. Otherwise, the opponent is going to be able to reach their move in time, and the Bulldoze is going to get the knockout while we can realign. And realigning with Talonflame is just so overpowered because, again, you have access to Brave Bird, and if the opponent is something weak in the back for you, which here in this case we have something good for the Superior, you're going to be just fine anyway. But yeah, the opponent has no chance of winning this game. They only do resisted damage, and they're going to decide to forfeit here. Moving on, next game, we're going to encounter a Surfetch in the lead. Decent lead for us, not the best, but we're going to see a little bit of an awkward Pokemon to swap in here against us, which is going to be the Golbat. Shadow Golbat is tricky. Like, this Pokemon is tricky for sure. I don't like to play against it. It's definitely a Pokemon that is really decent here against me. And also, they go for the correct move, which is really awkward for me. So, they went for the Shadow Ball, which does way more damage than the Poison Fang. So, great play by them. So, like, great play to the opponent there. But they're going to be able to still go for another Poison Fang. And I'm kind of forced to either go for the full Farm Down or for the Charge move here. And I decided to go for the Charge move. But I didn't know that I would lose CMP against a Golbat. I thought I would easily win CMP there. So, that's kind of awkward. In comes now the Surfetch, which is also kind of awkward, but at least I can go for the super effective Aerial Ace. I can try to catch a move here onto my Talonflame, and as it turns out, if I didn't catch this move and just used a shield, I would have been able to most likely win this game. As they're going to have a Frosters in the back, I just need a little bit more damage than just this Frenzy Plant, which I'm going to still get off against the opponent. And if I just had basically used my shield here, I would have been fine because I still had my Talonflame in the back. But I misplayed this game a little bit, so good game to the opponent, was winnable. But let's move on to the next one. Great lead for us. We're going to have another Medicham here. This is going to be okay for us. It's actually not as great as it actually looks like, but we can still go just for the Flame Charge, which is going to get the shield from the opponent, and I get even a free fast move in, which is amazing for me. The opponent goes for a Power Punch, which is pretty bad for me, but they're going to decide to swap out into the Gligar, allowing me to go for a Brave Bird, and let's take a look if this is going to land or not. It's going to land and one-shot the opponent. In comes now the Carping. I'm going to swap out into my Vigoroth. At this point of time, I know what is really important in this matchup and what not. The most important Pokemon here for me is going to be, of course, my Superior in the back. Having access to Aerial Ace, having access to Frenzy Plant is going to destroy both Pokemon that the opponent still has left. And I think that the opponent most are going to swap out eventually into their own Medicham, but they decided not to do this. So basically this Body Slam goes to waste, I thought, but no, they decide to actually use a shield on it, which is amazing. I can go back even into my Talonflame, use the energy that I have on this Pokemon to one-shot the opponent's Medicham, and we can swap out against the Carbink into our Superior, and this is going to be a good game there. Nothing the opponent can do anymore, as we can just go for the full farm down basically. But yeah, I'm just going to use a shield here, go for the full farm down. The opponent cannot do anything. I don't need to throw a charge move. Moving on, let's take a look at the next game coming up. We're going to have a horrible lead of Empoleon, something that I have not seen in ages. Very cool to see this Pokemon though, and at this point of time, I could actually even see that the opponent is maybe running something like the Mana Bus in the back, which is a very old team. But I had some lag there. I actually wanted to go for the Body Slam way earlier, which at the end of the day, it does not matter because I use a shield here anyway, so it's fine for me. But I want to go the entire time basically for a Body Slam, but like the game just didn't want me to go for it for whatever reason. Like honestly, like I had some input lag like recently a lot, so like I don't know what's happening with the game right now. Not too happy about it, but it does not really matter in this case, so I'm kind of okay with it. I'm going to be able to get out of here with a shield advantage, get some energy here, but the opponent is going to stay in with their Empoleon. I'm going to decide to actually let this move go through. It's going to be a super effective Drill Peck, and they're going to run in the back the Wigglytuff. And I will still get to a Frenzy Plant here, which is kind of nice. And we're going to get them low, and we're still going to get to another Frenzy Plant. But now my Talonflame, a Fire-type Pokemon, which is only going to have a neutral Flame Charge or resisted Brave Bird, is going to have to deal with the Empoleon. But Brave Bird does not really care about typing, so let's take a look. Boom, goodbye Empoleon, and we can move on to the second to last game for this video. Moving on, we have a great lead, and that's exactly what I kind of mean. Like, you see the leads here, they are all kind of the meta Pokemon at the current time. As you're gonna see, the swap into the Sableye. Kind of want to get an advantage here early on with going for the Brave Bird and either get the knockout or get the shield advantage. And let's see what we're gonna get here. We're gonna get the knockout, and I'm totally fine with that. I can just swap out basically against whatever comes in, which is going to be the Charizard, which again is a little bit of a trickier Pokemon, but I barely really see this Pokemon here. So maybe we still have a chance of winning this game, but it's going to be a close one. I have to call basically the baits here, and they decide to go for the Dragon Claw, which is a smart idea from them. But yeah, we still maybe have a chance later on. It's really going to be a close one though. We're gonna get out a Body Slam against the opponent. I have to let this move go through, I feel like. It's going to be the Frenzy Plant. I can still survive, and I can still go for a move, so I should be able to get a shield from the opponent as well. But I am going to decide to go back into my Talonflame, which maybe was a mistake, because I'm forced to use a shield here, and now I have still basically the opponent's Pokemon there with the Charizard, as well as here we're going to be able to maybe actually even still get to an Aerial Ace against the opponent's Charizard. We can still get there, so maybe there's a chance if we win CMP with our Talonflame, we're going to be able to win this game. I'm actually not sure at this point who wins CMP, because you only really know the damage of the Shadow Charizard, so Shadow bonus does not really matter. They don't have it here, but they still win CMP, so it's going to be a good game. Still a close one, but Flying type Pokemon can be a little bit tricky. Moving on, let's take a look at the next team, final team for today, or like final game for today. Again, another grass type Pokemon in the lead, and they're going to swap out into a Galarian Stunfisk, allowing me to go into my Superior, forcing them to go for the Rock Slide only. And this is going to be an amazing matchup for me. I can just go for the Frenzy Plant, and this should put them into kind of a range where I can even farm down afterwards. But it's maybe a little bit too much though. They're gonna go ahead and go for another Rock Slide, but we should be able to survive 3 Rock Slides total. So I can just go for a Frenzy Plant now. This is most likely gonna get the shield from the opponent, as they decide to kind of want to keep this Pokemon around. And I decide to let this move go through as well, because I feel like I'm rather having those shield advantages as the opponent goes for most likely another shield after this. And they definitely do, but they did not expect that I can still realign my Pokemon by using a shield here. And this extra Wind Whip is going to get the knockout here. We can still go for an Aerial Ace against the Venusaur, allowing us to do some decent damage, putting them into Body Slam range, and they're going to have, of course, the Bastion in the back, and this is going to be an amazing matchup for my Vigoroth. And this is going to be also it for this game here. I can just go for the Bulldoze. This is going to get the knockout. The Venusaur has no chance against our Fire and Flying type Pokemon. And so this is going to be a very easy victory for us. We can still go for a Body Slam, but at this point of time, this game is basically over. So yeah, this is going to be my favorite anti-meta line. Let me know in the comment section if you want to try out this line, or what do you think about this line. And this is going to be it for this video. Check out the videos on the screen, and I see you then. Bye bye.